perspectives, different views, one voice.
Welcome to the LDN Perspective Podcast. My name is Kojo.
Chris.
And we have with us...
my name is Dayo Ajibola. I'm HR business partner and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, hi, my name's Mo. I'm a big advocate in the community and help support youth in the area through local charity work and work within the whole SC1 and Waterloo area.
Hi, my name is Masakia. I am a writer, a secondary school teacher and a social commentator. And I advocate for equality, fairness and especially gender equality.
Okay, great. In regards to today's conversation, I was actually just going through BBC and I came across an article of a student that's just finished college and they wanted to go to uni, and then they were asking themselves the question of whether they should leave their girlfriend because they're going to uni, and that obviously is spanning to the whole long distance relationship. How does that work, and if that does work, and the challenges that people might have. From some of the stats that I found out, I think apparently 20% of people find the what do they call it when you say love of your life when they go to uni and they end up marrying them and stuff. Okay. So when you true love, yes, true love and all that type of stuff. So when you think about all these statistics and you think we've been to uni, everyone here has been to uni, right? Mm-hmm. So and you think about university life as it is with the. Not that everyone goes out and everyone parties, but you do tend to meet people.
Yeah.
And then when you think about those dynamics and you think about long distance, especially if you're staying on campus, then you're thinking, is this really going to work out? Especially for a young person as well. And I guess I'm only starting this from that article, from that scenario. I guess we'll progress this conversation with people that are married, but they might be in a long distance relationship or not. But it's a conversation to be had, and I think people need to be truthful to themselves to really analyze and think that maybe it might be best for me not to be in a relationship whilst I'm in uni because of all the little temptations or things that might come with it. Actually, just before you go into that, has anyone been in a long distance relationship here?
I have. I had the same scenario.
Okay.
But that's what I'm saying. So if it's true love in the sense of like you've been together for a few years and you're settled in your relationship, like, and obviously that's the thing. It's hard at that young of an age to have been through. Do you get what I'm saying? So many things by let's say you're 18 when you go uni, innit? So yeah, by then. But if it was and you actually feel strongly about each other, where it's like okay, you could actually see a certain future, then I would say give it a go. If it isn't that, if it's anything less than that, basically, you might as well go explore the future. Because if it's not true love, it's not going to even last, to be honest, because there's going to be circumstances that will end up pulling you away and you're going to both end up hurting each other. That's what I end up finding, that I've seen. Because with me, I didn't, it wasn't that deep. Do you see what I'm saying? So I came to that conclusion.
It wasn't that deep. She could be listening.
No,
Oh, that's Chris. It's not that deep. This was the love of my life.
Listen. I take that back.
Look at them on them disclaimers there.
You got you, brother. We got you. X, do you know what it is? Nah, do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? It wasn't that deep in the sense of, like, I remember we had the conversation when we was in college. You won't even remember, I don't think at the time.
What, do you remember Chris' girlfriend from college?
Yeah. So it wasn't even that, do you get what I'm saying? That we wasn't going out, it wasn't no years and years and years. It was more like puppy love. Now that I look back in hindsight, it was more like, okay, yeah, we liked each other, we really liked each other, but it was that puppy love. Like we didn't go through the emotional roller coasters and all of that. We wasn't really mature like that in that sense. So when we broke up just before I went to uni, but I remember she asked me, because those were the times when obviously we were applying for unis and all of that last year, like, what's going to happen and everything. And I was just like, yeah, obviously I want to stay together and that.
Why didn't you guys go to the same uni?
But I knew, we both knew we didn't want to do that.
Why?
We just knew, we just was like since she said what uni she wanted to go, and I was like, yeah, already, I ain't gonna lie, her unis were like top unis anyway, so I already knew I was never going to her unis.
What do you mean? I seen you were not going to meet the grades?
Yeah, I was never. I was not even on her level, that grade wise.
Yeah.
So I already knew I wasn't going. But then I could tell if I wanted to be like, all right, meet me in the middle, come. I wasn't even gonna do that. Do you see what I mean? Because I just was like, no, you go do your thing, I do my thing. And I was like, yeah, we could do our thing. But then I was like, I knew in the back of my mind. Do you get what I'm saying? That how is that gonna work? Do you see what I'm saying? Long term. But then we ended up breaking up just before uni anyway, so I never got to. Yeah, so I never got to obviously find out if it was like uni that was going to stretch the relationship like that. But it was just literally, that would have been, for me, I feel like maybe uni, us breaking up at the time, we both had uni in the back of our minds anyway. Do you see what I mean? Where we were just like, you know what, we could like fight for this relationship, but we're about to go and embark on a whole new thing, so we might as well just leave it. Do you understand what I mean? And I know that's how I was looking at it. It was like, all right, just do your thing, go live your life. If you're meant to be, you're meant to be. But, and that's what I'm saying in this conversation, where it's like, I feel like some people have to be mature enough to actually make that decision where it's like, are you gonna hold on to love, or are you gonna try and seize your destiny, basically? And you could do both. If you really love the person, that person could be your destiny. Do you see what I mean? And that's all it is. I've seen some people, they try to work out through their whole, they went through uni and they did their thing through uni, and then after uni they broke up. Do you see what I mean? So it's all different circumstances as well. It's just about the maturity of the person and how they and their relationship as well.
I don't know. I think there's two types of like young love. There's the one where like you've just got a boyfriend and a girlfriend. You're a boyfriend and a girlfriend. You're a couple for the sake of being a couple, just because it's what you feel you should do as your rites of passage coming out of teenagers. And then there's that passionate, fiery, I'm probably never gonna love anyone the way I've loved you, teenage love, if that makes sense. And those are the ones that end up staying together, or they move on, they both get married, and then they get divorced and they can be back with each other, and that kind of crazy, insane bondage teenage love. So I suppose it depends on which one you have, if that makes sense.
No.
Yeah, and I feel like if it's that true love where you're truly the love of each other's lives, after university, whether you break up or not, whether you stay together or not, you will find your way back to each other and solidify your relationship. If not, then literally you'll break up, and that's it.
Yeah.
If it wasn't real.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Yeah, it has to, especially at that age as well. When you're that age, you've got to be quite strong.
I think that's the thing, though. I guess the whole, when you look at the scenario, you're thinking why someone might think of breaking that relationship. It's the whole temptation angle of it, right? So I guess for a young person at that age as well, and as you said, whether it's puppy love or not, are you actually saying at that age, this is the woman that you're going to be for the rest of your life?
100% you can say that.
You know what? This is where
I don't think
you know what? I look at it more of a hindsight perspective. Yeah? And in hindsight, anyone, let's say our age that you might speak to now, could they tell you they were the same person they are now as they were when they were 16, 17, 18? Because those are the ages you're going to be going into uni, or you would have started that relationship. And I would say the person I was at them ages,
What person were you?
definitely
What person were you, mate?
would have been mature enough to continue a long-term relationship. Although at the time you may have felt that, yes, this is where I want to be, blah, blah, blah. But in hindsight, I would advise anyone at those ages that don't take life so seriously. Be free, go out, and don't commit to yourself to something for your long-term future, because you yourself will change and grow. And that is one of the things that you get out of uni in terms of yourself personally, because even the whole education system, A-levels and the degree are completely different and stuff like that, how you're growing, conception. So I reckon for a young person, them ages, I personally think cut it, go uni, do your thing.
like, cut it.
If you still
Cut it.
just cut it.
Cut it.
If you still feel after uni that you still feel that way, or that's something that you want to go for, then yeah.
But what?
Do
I
that.
don't think you can say that though, because what if you've got that woman or that man that is gonna either make your degree? Like, as in, like, you've got that support network there where, like, I can do this because of this woman, or I can do that because of that man.
And I agree with that. Do you know what I've seen people do is,
I think that's true for adult life.
yeah,
But 16,
No, but then,
17,
do you know what?
that dependency on a partner isn't really there.
Yeah, what I was gonna say is,
No,
what I
100%
see is
think it is.
people more time. What I've seen at that age is they try to have their cake and eat it. So when they feel like they can't cut the ties, they'll just have that person there, especially when it's at uni and they're not at the same university. And it's one of them ones where that's my love, and hey, I'm at uni, and this is just the honesty of it. And I've seen people balance that out.
I think men are, well, not even men, women as well. I think people are more liable to cheat and have these flirtatious relationships in their 30s and 40s than ever when they're at uni.
Yeah, but we're talking about obviously.
Yeah, what?
No,
I saw it that face. What are you trying to say?
I get what she's saying. But
That's
far more reckless than 18-year-olds.
that's
no, but like,
it's damning.
no, but you know, it's not about the age. It's just about just the circumstance. You know what I mean? The situation that's happening. Do you see what I mean? So obviously, like what you said, you might have met a girl. This is what I've seen. So I've seen guys where they've got a girl and they know she's a good girl, and they know like, all right, I've been with this girl for like a year or two. So they're like, all right, cool. I'm going to a place where it's like,
Temptation Central.
it's going to be Temptation Central, and it's one of them ones that this is just a rite of passage for them. Like, I've got to go to uni. I'm not, and it's that for them, it's common sense thing is, I've got to go to uni and I've got to get my education, but I love my girl. Why would I break up with her? Like, why? And that's the way they're saying it. Is, what, like, obviously, I'm just gonna keep her there and watch what she don't know won't hurt her. And that's, I'm being really brutally honest there, but that's really what it is. Like, that's what I've seen where when basically guys have it both. Or I've seen girls do it too, to be honest.
Have you ever been in a long-term relationship?
You know what? I was going to think about that question quite carefully, and I don't know.
His exes are listening.
You know what? I feel like everyone's even
You guys are on edge, man.
That's what I'm saying. I'm talking up the thing.
Free.
You know something? If my exes are listening, they know me. I don't give a damn.
No disclaimer. No disclaimers.
No, I'm quite honest with it. So I think obviously listening to what everyone's saying, I think there are quite a few good points there. I think you look at two things. You look at the understanding you have with the other person in terms of your level of maturity, your understanding with the other person. But also, I think when you say long distance, I think the key word to me is distance. That's quite key. I mean, if I take it to myself, my mom has this expression she uses about me, like, out of sight, out of mind. That's where I am. If I don't see you, my distance to you in terms of how I feel about you tend to be a little bit more. So the less I see of you, the less connected I am to you. If I see you on a regular basis, then I say, you know what, have a chat with you, because I'm a very old school person. I'm not into this whole social media, like, you know, FaceTime, you know what. I like to see people in person, have a conversation in person.
FaceTime is just a feature on your phone.
Trust me, like it's
just FaceTime.
yeah.
Like, you call someone, they
I
just
know,
see your
but
face.
it's
It's
not the same as seeing a person right in front of you, because for all you know, you can be FaceTiming them and they can be doing something in the background. So it's that also like getting attention and things like that. I think long distance relationship is, again, at 17, 18. I'm very careful not to say, you know, people at that age are not mature enough, because some people are actually more mature at that age than they actually are presently.
Yeah, of
So you
course.
need to be quite careful. I think it comes down to the understanding you have with that person and whether you're both at a level of emotionally sort of comfortable where you can actually make it work. Because sometimes insecurity comes into
Yeah, that's what it is.
into play, really, especially when you get to university, and most men, as most women would know, most men like the attention and the ego. You know, when you get that attention in university from other females, and your girlfriend is, you know, 10,000 miles away or 5,000 miles or whatever, So sometimes, you know, that tension makes you feel like, you know, if you feel wanted again, you feel like, you know what, you know, I'm desirable, you know.
That's a human thing. Let's not.
I think.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Well, I think with men, with most men, it's the ego thing. When a woman wants you, you feel like, you know what?
I'll get you, but I've seen
But
women
that's,
do it
that's
too,
what
though.
I think. I think that's a man problem. Like I think between the ages of like 18 to 23, I don't think that you are a man is a man. If that makes sense.
I get you.
They might have qualities and principles, and I get there's going to be the anomaly that's always going to be far more a cut above the rest. But generally, I think that young boys, I think, are far less likely to be running around with Sally and Rachel and whatever, than men like fully grown men.
No.
100%.
No. If you think
Okay, wait. Just before we just flip that. So what you guys have to understand, the basis of that, using that scenario, is not necessarily just because of the uni aspect. I understand that we're talking about uni aspect. But what I'm trying to say is that the challenges that someone that's going to uni is going to face will be similar to someone that's in a long distance relationship, whether they've been together for 10 years, whether they're married, whatever. No, that's basically the same type of challenges.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think they would face those challenges though, because boys don't need so much sexual gratification as men do. Boys are still in their little bougie stage, like, yeah, she can't have me. Like, I'm too.
18. Hey, I don't know what you're saying here, man.
I think you're thinking the reverse, you know.
No, 18-year-olds.
If you actually look at it, it's probably older men past a
18-year-olds.
certain age that need the
They have the
gratification
confidence
again.
to actually go after it. 18-year-olds, they fantasize about it. If it's put on a plate, yes, they'll do it.
It's not.
But I'm telling you, grown men are far more disgusting.
Do you know what it is? They are. No.
They
I
are
get the
disgusting.
angle you're coming from. Do you know what that is?
What?
That's a mix of money, wealth, and power that accumulates with age. So you see what I mean? So where it appears is
Even the broke ones.
no.
are disgusting.
But it's what it is. It looks like it's confidence, but no, it isn't. An 18-year-old who's brave, like I'm talking like, let's say an 18-year-old who's been out here for a couple of years now. Yeah, he's at his most bravest point between the 18 to 23. He's active. Trust me, like he's always active, like going to parties, whatever, to meet, socializing. What it is with someone who's older, past certain ages, they work the game. They've been through the whole stages of different types of women, different types of, you see what I mean? The stages of being broke, stages being up and down, whatever. So now, all it is they haven't got time for it. And especially when they've
Haven't
got
got time for what?
the whole, let's say the courting.
Oh, they do.
No.
They really do.
No, but that's out of choice though.
Yeah.
Do you understand that? Let's say now a man who's got money and power, if he wants to court that woman, that's out of a choice. Now, he could probably still get the same thing he wants through his money and power, just from like A to B conversation. Do you understand what I'm saying? So he could just slap it on her. Here's this is what I want. Are you with it or not? Or he could be like, you know what, I really like you, I want to take you to dinner, I want to do. That's all out of choice. Whereas someone who's 18 to 23, that guy, he's just coming at that girl on a certain angle. Do you understand what I mean? So when you're saying guys are just disgusting as they get older,
Yeah, they are.
a lot of those men, it's because they haven't fully grown out of a mental state. You see what I'm saying? They're just reenacting what they couldn't do when they were younger.
Actually, just on the third point, sorry.
I know.
Just on the third point about a long distance relationship. Actually, I don't know whether you can count this as a long distance relationship, but I was dating a girl once that was living in Stoke. And to me, that was a bit of a business. But I lived in
It is.
Yeah.
Kind of,
Ain't that the
yeah.
business? Man, so you just can't say that.
So that was a bit of a business. I think what I found out to be the challenge was the fact that, and we knew each other quite well, like at least 2 or 3 years before we started actually seeing each other. And I think that the issue to me was 2 things. There was the issue about the level of commitment and what you actually had to do to make sure that I was showing to her that I really cared about her. So that included me having to travel to Stoke almost every week. And
Too
again,
much long.
That's
again,
Not if you loved her.
what?
Clearly love doesn't
Every
conquer
week.
all, does it?
Prove that though.
Every week.
Every week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Are
mean,
you saying
if he
Wait, guys,
was really into her.
just before you finish, let Daniel finish his point.
Sorry.
and also at the time I wasn't really in a position where I was financially comfortable like I am right now. So that was a bit of a financial cost for me to travel to Stoke.
And she didn't understand that.
I would like to think so. I can't really speak for her because I don't really think that was an issue. I think the issue to me was whenever I went to Stoke, I would stay there for 2 or 3 days, and I was like, you know what, I need to go to work like the next day, and she would get upset with me. She'd be like, oh well, if you're only going to stay there for 2 or 3 days,
Why come at all?
so
Yeah.
but again, it was about the level of commitment. She thought that I wasn't committed enough to her because.
How?
Again, it was the expectation, isn't it? She thought that if I come to Stoke, I'll be there for at least 3 or 4 days.
She's not like an immature brat.
Not really. She wasn't
She might
necessarily.
be listening.
Well, I'm sorry. What do you expect me to say?
I have nothing to do with this one.
Pardon?
I agree with you.
I'm sorry. At the end of the day, if a young man is coming to see you 2 or 3 days, he's got work, he's working full time, part time,
She
whatever.
was young at the time.
Yeah, it was a very immature.
So
decision.
for example, I think when we go into a bit of a discussion, a bit of an argument, what she said was, well, if you had work on Monday, why can't you leave on Monday morning? I said, because I had to get ready for work on Monday. So I had to.
Yeah, but you could have taken your stuff there together.
Yeah.
Nah,
I see your
bro,
point too.
bro, that's not
Yeah,
business,
I see your
bro.
point.
No, what do you mean? It doesn't matter though.
Yeah, that's true.
Love is love, isn't it? What do you mean?
Bro, that's a
That's an
commute.
easy
You have to
Right,
come
yeah.
in back anyway. You have to come in back anyway.
No, but you wouldn't
Sure,
run.
you could sleep and go to work from
Yeah.
home.
What?
That was what she said.
Take your clothes.
Yeah.
That's what she actually said. But to me, like I in terms of the way I like to prepare for work,
You like to structure,
like,
yeah.
structure my thing,
Yeah.
that was a bit of a difficulty, and I think ultimately she saw it as I wasn't committed to her.
I don't think you were.
That has been nice, but
And to me, no. See, the thing about me is I'm not an argumentative person. I think ultimately when you have this, I actually deal with things as a mature person. So if it wasn't working for you, if you thought that level of commitment was not enough for you, then perhaps you needed to meet someone else willing to commit to you more than I am with.
Could you handle her being with someone else?
She ended up being with someone else.
Could you
Was
handle?
it while you was with us? Was it she ended up cheating basically?
I don't know because I
Oh,
know
was
that
it like-
exists, but I think we just said, you know what?
Could you handle her being with someone else?
Well, she is right now, so
But could you handle it at the time? Obviously not.
yeah, definitely.
You didn't know.
You didn't love her, man. Man just said like she could have just gone anywhere.
Yeah.
I said, oh, that question was to set you up. That was the whole thing. She set you up when you clearly showed your true intention. Because if you could handle it with her being with someone else, then what was all that about? Why travel that far?
Yeah, because clearly what I was giving her was not enough, so I'm not gonna kill myself.
Yeah, obviously. That's what it would have
See,
been.
I think as a man.
So was you
sometimes
doing
we
it
need to-
more to please her
Then
That's
than
what
it
I'm
was
saying.
for
No.
you to be with her?
It was both ways. So I wanted to make her happy, but also I wanted to be with her.
Did you enjoy her company?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it's just
But
that you went that
but you know what? That has to. I think sometimes people say, "Well, do you enjoy a company?" It has to mean that you have to bend over backwards to make yourself feel uncomfortable. I think relationship. No.
Yes.
Nah, that's me. I'm like that as well. People say that to me, like, oh, you need to compromise.
You do.
And you do. You
And I
need to
do
compromise
compromise.
certain
You
aspects.
do.
You do.
But you do need to.
You have to.
I don't-
You
It's not that you
that's
need to,
fine.
you have to.
You have to
yeah.
compromise.
You have to.
No, but you shouldn't have to feel uncomfortable, like what
Yes.
you said.
It is
Like,
uncomfortable.
No.
Compromise is uncomfortable.
Mm.
No. I get what you don't mean when it's coming out your comfort zone. Yeah, that's that compromise. Because obviously, there's the compromise meeting in the middle. Obviously, there's your comfort zone and her comfort zone, and then there's you meeting in the middle. But that's obviously you doing it again. That's what you're not saying out of love, and that's you see when you come out your comfort zone. That's you doing it because you willingly, because you love the girl or you love the man. So you're doing it without even knowing you're doing it.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that's part of the love. So it doesn't feel
So
uncomfortable. you
watching one of these reality TV shows just because your girlfriend likes it, would you say that's something?
No, even if we,
Yeah.
no.
For me, it is, yeah.
Desperate Housewives,
Love and hip hop, yeah, crazy,
Something
all
like
that
that.
stuff.
It's
No,
not
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Sometimes.
but that's what I'm saying. So something like that would be a compromise where naturally these are the things that show yourself as well that actually I like this girl. Maybe even more than I thought because you're doing certain things where it's like before 9 months ago or a year or 2 years
Guys
ago.
always like girls more than they think.
Yeah, whatever. But yeah,
Always.
but it could be. But these are the signs. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But once you're doing certain things that way, it's like, hold on, you're noticing that you see what I mean. Like she's saying something to you where it's so far left,
Yeah.
and you've noticed it that much where you're like, all right, like she just like moved to another country because you love me. You'd be like, hey, hold on, like, do you get what I mean? It's like, no, but you love me. No, it ain't
I guess,
how it works.
I guess what
Do
you're
you get
saying
what
is
I'm
that
saying?
it's not just her in the conversation, innit? The same way that she's moving to another country is the same way she could stay with you, innit? If she loves you.
But
So
she's-
there is a balancing thing here. The same way that Deo is choosing to go there, it's the same way that she could also choose to come and see Deo.
She could
But I do
easily-
understand at the same time that you are choosing to go there, then it is fair for her to ask the question, why can you not just bring your work stuff for you to go to work on Monday? I think that is fair. That does not necessarily mean that you haven't gone out your way or you're not trying or anything like that, but I think that's a fair thing to ask.
Yeah.
Now, it could be seen as in you're asking for too much because I want my space, but you're in a long distance relationship. You have your space anyway. So it's like what do you want? You have like the rest of the day, you have the rest of the 5 days just being by yourself. So this is the little stuff that sometimes people need to look into, innit, I guess.
But also, I think the other part, I think both parties need to take into account what the other person is compromising towards. So, for example, Kojo will tell you very well, I don't like to go out. Like, just me personally. Like, I don't like going to parties. I don't like, my mom lives 10 minutes away from me. I find out I struggle to go see my mom sometimes. I'm like, so why do we have to come and see you? Like, you know, can we just have a chat? So, to me, I think
What do you do at home then?
so, like, the way I work is so crazy. Like,
Guys, what's going on?
Computer games.
But isn't that a perfect man though?
What's that?
The guy that's addicted to computer games. Because at least you know he's not out cheating or anything.
Listen to
Oh,
that.
wait.
You're sitting on the couch. This man there will play this computer game whilst you're sitting in the
Do
couch.
you know, I'd rather
No
that,
attention to
I'd
you
rather that than
whatsoever.
the dogs. I'd rather that than the dogs. A guy that just sits and plays on his computer games 23 hours a day, doesn't even want to go to the toilet.
Does if he want to talk to you?
Yeah, I'd rather that because at least I can see him.
At least you
And
can
he's
see
not
where
down
he
the
is.
He'd be like,
door.
woman, where's my food?
Yeah,
That's what
that's
I'm
what
saying.
saying. Yeah,
Put him on a leash.
that is
That's
actually
what
the
it is.
perfect guy.
But is that not more of a control thing than anything
That
else?
is.
No,
That's
it's
security.
like because
That's insecurity.
Yeah, it is. It's part of insecurity.
That's it.
It is.
Because
It is.
I
Yeah.
see you there, so I know that you're not doing anything damning.
Yeah,
That's
it's
insecurity.
showing-
because if he was out, he would be doing something damning.
No, because you
What
think
is
you
your-
will be.
You think he would?
No, I'm sure. I'm sure.
All guys just do man.
More or
Wait.
No.
Just before we go any further, let Deo finish. Man.
Stay the perfect man.
just like carry on. Can I just clarify something? I'm not addicted to computer.
I do that.
just clarify that.
I was beginning to think I fancied him. Now I'm off now.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
I just want to clarify something. I just want to put a question. I know you're moderating, Cody, so I do apologize. When we look at this long distance relationship thing, do you think that it's something that just changed with times? Because I remember my uncle used to tell me back in the days when he was in university, his wife right now, they had a long distance relationship.
Yeah.
There was no social media there, was no telephone. They used to write letters to each
That's
other.
what I'm saying.
And actually, he made them sort of like
It's the novelty,
fond
innit?
of each
That
other.
letter
Yeah.
reading that.
So my question is, back in the days, what's so different now?
Nothing.
But then don't you think
It's the
that?
social media.
But then
No.
don't you always think though?
Always
Sorry,
that.
I'm going to be a bit controversial here. Don't you always think that the guy kind of has it his way? Because when you're talking about these uncles, man, my uncles are on a different level. Yes, you're talking about long distance relationship. People have got wives in Africa, but they have a wife here as well.
This is what I'm saying.
So it's like when you say that, and we're talking about back in the day things working. I'm not disputing that, but back in the day, people marriage and these type of things meant more than it means now. Being together with someone meant more
No,
because
I
the
think-
form of marriage as well, where it's like you meet the family and everyone knows that okay, this is the person that you're with. It meant that it was harder for a person to go astray or lead a different life or try to cheat, especially when it comes to that side. So it made it a bit more difficult.
But I think that marriage meant more back in the day is because they chose to be with people they truly, truly cared about and truly loved.
No.
Yes,
No,
now people
no.
people are with people now for a multitude of reasons, and none of them have got to do with love, commitment, or dedication. You're just with someone because they're convenient for you at the time, and whether that time lasts 20 years and you're already married to them or whatever, I genuinely believe that marriage doesn't mean as much as it did back in the day because people are not choosing the right people. Like, I know that when my dad went away to university, my mum was here, my dad was in Russia for like 7 years, and they were in their early 20s. And they were together. They used to write letters to each other, phone calls, try and meet up in like France or places like that or whatever. But they stayed together because my mum knew the type of man she had in my father, and my father knew the type of woman he had in my mum. I'm sure he had masses of temptation in Russia, and I'm sure he probably wasn't an angel, but he knew at the end of the day he was coming home to my mum. Whereas I don't think people have those type of relationships because they don't meet those type of people. If somebody can't hold you being in a separate country, or not being able to contact that person because of visa issues, or your love could be in prison or anything, if you can't stay with that person for 5 or 10 years and not even be able to see them, touch them or whatever, then I don't think it's real.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
That's not a real relationship.
No, I do agree with that to a certain extent. Just that the last part of it.
What?
Of if it's not real, then it's not a real relationship. And
But what do you mean by it's not real? Though?
No, like
I don't
in the sense
understand.
of
How does it become real if they're still together? What is
No.
it?
Yeah, real like as in like that at the end of the day,
It's
if
worth it.
my missus gets a job in New York and it's going to be X amount of money a year, that's really going to bring in money for the family, and the job the fixed term contract is 5 years or whatever, you're like, you know what, I've got an excellent career in London, so she's going to move out there for 5 years, but what we have is so real, so tangible, we're so dedicated to each other, we are going to make this work no matter what, like everyone else does.
It's not even just that as well. It's not even just that. It's the fact that you love each other to the point where you wouldn't even want to be with anyone else, even where you are.
You know what it is? I think in this conversation, what you guys are not considering is that sometimes in a long distance relationship, it could get boring. Yeah, in the sense that there's novelties in the call and listening to someone's voice and stuff, but because they're distant. Anyway, I'm very similar to Dale. Like, I need a person to be there. I prefer seeing people to have those type of things. No, but some people are okay with the long distance. I don't personally think I could do it.
No, because they
in
know
the sense
what
that
person they're with. It's like you are worth waiting for. If you can't do that with someone, she's
no.
not worth waiting for.
What I'm saying here is that there's temptations, there's the boredom of it, there is the sexual frustration as well, with all these things. And these things are part and parcel of life. We are human beings. No man is an island. Now, you're going away for 5 years. I've never had... Me saying to my wife that that's okay would be me lying to myself at that time. What would be the point of me doing that?
Yeah, but...
Not because... No, and the thing is, it's not the intent. So you say certain stuff that when your mum and dad, and then your dad always knew that it was good. Yes, it's not that you always don't know that that's the woman for you. But we're talking about the little bits of time when you're just there and you're a bit bored and then you go out and then stuff. It's not like you don't love that wife and it's not like you don't want to be with her. But these things happen because you are, and you said, and I think you made a point to say, it's not like he was an angel or whatever.
I'm sure he wasn't.
Okay, but then this is what I'm saying. Yeah, but this is what I'm saying though. Yeah, but and being an adult, that's the whole thing. So what I'm saying here is that when you look at these dynamics of things and you see how difficult it's going to be, me personally, if that information is put, that example that you put, when my wife is going away for 5 years, we have to really talk about this because I don't know if I'll be able to cope, in all honesty. That sexual frustration and all these other things that comes with it, it's not that I don't love you. It's not to do with love. It's not like you don't have the intent. Because you could have someone that has the intent to give up smoking, but the habit that they have kind of makes it difficult for them to reach that intent.
Yeah, but anything could happen. For example, what if there was a couple that were together and the woman got very sick and she wasn't able to have sex for X amount of years and you were seeing her every day, but you couldn't sleep with her because she's got this condition or whatever.
But it's not like the marriage is not going to suffer though. No. No, it's not even like it's semantics. It's fair, but it's not like the marriage is not going to suffer though. This is what I'm saying. Because humans are humans. So a lot of the times when you're having these conversations, hence the reason why if you're having that conversation where someone is going on that long distance, you almost have to talk about yourself, know yourself, and know what the challenges are going to be.
Yeah.
Because, and that's the only way you overcome it. But to be acting as if love conquers all, I don't believe in that. I don't think that. No, that's a fairy tale land. That's a fairy tale land. You're saying to me, just before you come anymore, you're just saying to me that I love you so much, so that should conquer all. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
In real life, it doesn't work.
No,
I'm sorry.
does.
Go on.
The problem with that is your definition of love. As in, your definition of love could be different to someone else's definition of love. And I think what tends to happen a lot is people have this universal concept of love, but not everybody else is seeing the same picture of what love is and what love means.
Okay.
No, that's true.
Everyone sees it in the movie.
So how you will say, what's it called? Let's say your
You're
partner's
talking about
sleeping with
conditions.
someone else or
Yeah.
something.
Mm.
That means that he doesn't love them.
Someone
No,
can see
no,
differently.
I don't see it like that.
You don't?
But no, I don't see that. But an old friend told me years and years and years ago, when we were 17 actually, so a very long time ago, she said the reason why men and women always will have conflict with love is because a woman's greatest emotion is love, but a man's greatest emotion is pride. So some things he won't do out of love, she won't understand, because for her, love conquers all. So, and I definitely believe that for women, love conquers all, but for men, pride conquers all. But for me, I feel like as a woman, a man should see you as his pride. And once a man, if a man ever sees you as his pride, that's when you've got him. If he
That's
loves
true.
you or loves you
That's true.
unconditionally, that's not even going to sustain your relationship. He has to see you as his pride. I'm always going to be her caretaker. I'm always going to protect her. No man's ever going to touch her once I'm alive. Do you know what I mean?
But is that not like an old view of what men should be viewing women? Because
Yeah.
protectors, some women will feel that if I say that, some women will feel like, oh, I don't need no protection. I could protect myself with all these
I hear that, but I
liberal.
feel like
You know what I'm saying? Do you know
it's
what I
the
mean?
image
So
and perspective of it. But I feel like protector, provider of love, provider of care, provider of finances. I think provision can go so many different ways. But that's my
But you
interpretation.
know what? It is quite interesting, the whole idea of pride and the man seeing the woman as like the main, not asset, but like the main pride, and then that making sure that the man will not do anything untoward in order to keep that going.
Yeah,
That's
same. I'm not gonna break up
that's
my
interesting. I
woman.
never really thought about that.
When I'm going to university, because I don't want her to be with anyone else. That's not going to happen on my watch. It's like, you've got him. You're his pride. He won't
So you
be-
believe in love from a woman's perspective?
I believe that love is a woman's greatest emotion, and I believe that pride is a man's greatest emotion.
No, so you believe in love
Mm.
from a woman's perspective then?
What do you mean? You have to elaborate.
Do you understand what I mean
Yeah,
by
I
that?
know what you're saying.
What I'm
Your
trying to say is that
interpretation of love.
your interpretation of love. So when you say, if you were to say that you are in love or your partner's in love with you, then from what you're saying is that you might be in love with your partner, but because your partner sees you as an asset, as in the main pride.
No, I think men can love, but I don't think it's their strongest emotion. That's all, and I feel like women have a hard time accepting that. I definitely think men can love, and I think they can love dearly and they can love greatly, but I don't think it's their most powerful emotion.
I mean, I think just going back to the whole long distance relationships, not one where they should break up if you went to university or in life in general. I think the only way it can work, I think you made a few good points there. It comes down to quite a few key points. Again, I think the first thing is there has to be an understanding between both people in terms of obviously the way they see each other, and obviously, I think some of the factors that come into place are things like common goals and common ideals. So it's fine, this is where we see each other going. You know, is our sort of vision of life, are we on the same trajectory or not? I think that's quite key, because if not, you know, it's a case of you just tend to pull apart from each other as you grow older or as you grow in your own way, actually. But also, I think there has to be a level of commitment to each other where you need to be able to say to each other, you know what, I am committed to you, you're committed to me, and you have to be able to communicate well. I think communication is key if you want a long distance relationship to actually work. And I think that's one thing. I think most of us like to feel like we're good communicators, and I think it varies from one person to another. For example, I think I'm a good communicator, but I've been told I'm actually a very, very bad communicator
By
when it comes
women?
to people. By women, absolutely. So, for example, seriously, I've had a situation in the past where, you know, an ex once told me to say, oh, well, you don't text me in the morning to say good morning, baby.
Yeah.
Tell him to
So-
ban
no,
out,
no,
man.
no,
What do you think this is?
seriously.
I'm not your butler, man. I'm not your butler, man. What do you think this is, man?
Oh, we see the real cons, you know.
No,
I'm only messing.
No, so again, I think it's quite key.
That is
So,
so cute.
so for example, some people feel like, you know, at least once a day you have to talk to each other. Look, sometimes to me it varies from what I think and what the other person, and that's where compromise comes into place, isn't it? And again, you get some.
Sorry, just to add in on what you're saying, do you think another problem is that in beginning of relationships, guys kind of uphold a pretense, and then after a while it dies down? So like the whole
I think both people.
texting in or good morning, blah, blah. You might start off like that, and after a while you think, oh, this is
If
love.
it dies
I've
down,
got
then
love and stuff like that.
it's dead, isn't it? Because it should accelerate.
Hey, come on. You don't know. Listen. It's like going on a date. When you go on a date, yeah, just imagine the first couple of dates you've gone on. Everyone puts their best foot forward. You're not going to keep up that pretense. It's going to get to a certain level that
I'm proper like
that
with
is
everything
not going to
you're saying.
be.
Yeah, but it's
Do you know what you remind me of? You remind me of that me like years ago.
Really?
That like I feel like you're like what you're thinking of is the ideal love, like what everyone you're thinking of
Real.
idealistic love.
We're talking
So
about
that's-
real
that's
So
life.
I've even gone on when I've had long-term relationships with guys,
Yeah.
like longer than a year, and then like maybe they used to text me every morning and say good morning or whatever, and then now we're a year into it or whatever, now he's calling me like 10, 20 times a day because we're dealing with other stuff, like real life
Yeah, I
stuff
get what
now.
you're saying.
So then I'm like,
Yeah,
well,
like you
it should
matured.
accelerate,
you
yeah.
matured.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but that's different. That's not the same, though.
Is he calling you now to say good morning, or is he calling you to say, "Raw, where's my shirt?" Innit? Like,
Yeah,
this is what I'm saying.
Honestly, like, I'll take
Yeah.
your heads, I'm
What?
calls, I'm
Yeah, but that is
Exactly.
that's
Yeah,
different.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I'm saying.
I'll take
That is different.
This
This is what I'm saying.
I don't mind, as long as your name is
No, I didn't say have you.
Good.
People think I'm sexist,
Yeah.
man. Have you ironed my shirt? That's not
So you're seeing it as even though it comes as a good morning or whatever, however it comes as
yes, I'm alright
it's
with that.
attention.
Yeah.
So what you mean is just communication, not the type of communication.
What romantic kind
It's just that someone is just calling you. As
Yeah,
long as they're
yeah,
calling
all
you.
the
Because what
time.
he was saying,
Yeah.
and what I took off what he was saying is that
Yeah.
the expectation of, oh, what, you don't even care how I am this morning.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even text me to say how I am. Oh, I haven't gone the whole day. You couldn't even.
Yeah.
Come on,
And-
And
we
the
all
reason
have a
why
life.
he hasn't is
innit?
because
Like,
there's no need for him to holler at her. Do you understand?
Yes.
That's how men are practical. We'll be like, rah, like, I spoke to you at 9 a.m. You knew I was going to work. So this is what it is. So obviously, like, I'm
I'll
out.
be at work for 8
Yeah,
hours.
yeah,
That
yeah.
8 hours,
So
I don't really need to be
if I
calling
hollered
you.
at you-
At the end of those 8 hours,
If I hollered at you at 9 o'clock
Yeah.
again, you might, like, let's say a girl, not you,
Yeah.
a girl might be like, rah, you've gone the whole day without hollering at me. But then hold on, you knew I worked from 9 to 5, and also you knew I was going gym
Yeah.
after that. Like, you knew my
Yeah.
schedule. So I'm hollering at you now.
Yeah.
What's the issue?
Exactly.
No, it's not always that. Again,
Yeah,
it's
no,
always.
it's not
What you could have even dropped me a text at lunch. You go on our
Yeah,
lunch break, don't
yeah,
you? It's
yeah,
not an excuse.
yeah. What were you doing in your lunch?
You finish work at 5:30. It's half an hour, 35 minutes, and all of that.
Anyway,
to get to gym.
So let's
yeah.
bring it back. Let's bring it back in though. So this is why when you were talking about long distance relationship, these kind of things. So it could be even this situation you're actually living with the person,
Yeah.
or the person is just down the road from you.
Yeah.
So imagine when the person is not down the road from you, the person might be out of the country or another part of the country that's going to take you 8
Yeah.
hours. So these things become even more of a challenge for that relationship, right? Because it's not like they could have that conversation at 9 o'clock and say, oh, I was coming to see you anyway because I was just coming to your house, because that's not going to happen.
No, I hear that, but I just feel like if you know that this person is worth waiting for or fighting for or being uncomfortable for, it's an uncomfortable compromise that takes you wide out of your comfort zone. But because you're with the right person, it is worth making that sacrifice for.
But then it's funny though that, sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, ideally, that's what you'd want it to be, to find a partner that's worth it like that. But I think what we're saying is, well,
People
I can't
with
say.
partners that are worth it.
No, I think it's just 2019 in how society is now. It's going to be really.
Because they date wrong people.
Actually, I'm
It's not.
sorry.
No, it's not even that dating the hard. No, it's not. No. You can call it dating. In hindsight, it is, because obviously it might not work out. But what it is I feel, with what we were saying earlier, is that certain temptations are here more often than before. This is me personally. So obviously, whether people like to admit it or not, stuff like technology and social media does have a play at it. I feel like
Yeah, well, apparently
obviously-
people could swipe left or
yeah,
right.
that's what. Not and not those things are
Swipe.
really that. It's those affect it. It's this, and I'm hearing a lot of things of what men do, but I'm telling you, it's both shoes on the foot, because I've seen girls that talk a certain way where it's that. Look, I'm not putting up with what my aunties told me I shouldn't part with, what they part with back in the day. I don't need to part with it. So that's it's the new attitude is what I'm saying to relationships, and just modernity to me affects.
So I think to an extent, I disagree with your point there a little bit, and I think the reason why I disagree is this. in the current age which we live in right now with social media and communication, actually, long distance relationship in theory should
work.
easier.
It should, but it's the
In theory,
temptation.
in theory, it should work.
Because you have so
But
many
again,
channels.
Yeah.
again, practical aspect is one thing. I think Kojo made a point which sort of went silent, but I agree with it. And I think it's such a huge thing, and that's intimacy in the relationship. Now, again, I like to feel like I'm the ideal man. Yeah, I can control myself. But sometimes, like, if you're going like a year without in a long distance relationship where you care about someone and you see them all the time, what is the first time? Snapchat. We try to say.
Whatever.
Yeah, whichever. Yeah, so you see them every day, like on the screen, you have a chat with them, and all that stuff. But sometimes being there, that actually feeling, touching the person, having that conversation is quite different. And going back to what Kojo said, in the past, quite a lot of these uncles that had long-term relationship, they love their wives back home. It's not that they didn't love them, but the human need, the physical need, the carnal need of a man to have a woman and to be intimate sometimes actually overtakes them, and they end up doing things that they
Having a
shouldn't
girlfriend.
be doing.
And that's what I feel like we should have put that as a disclaimer as well, because what I'm hearing, no, it is not in a disclaimer, but I'm hearing a lot of, like, you see that whole success stories of long-term relationships, but from what I've seen is a lot of reasons why is because of the cheating aspect that never gets spoken about. Do you understand? So,
Yeah, so
if we take that out,
Yeah,
how much of these relationships could actually work?
because I wanted then to go on and ask Maz, would you say another definition of love is a woman knowing that their partner's far away and allowing him to satisfy his sexual needs,
Just to still stay
just to
with her.
continue the
'Cause-
relationship?
That's what
And
I feel
carry
like.
that
Yeah,
on.
that's what I'm saying.
Like, I
Yeah.
feel like with women, I think women have got a really powerful sixth sense. And when a guy loves you, like, unconditionally, you know. Like, you know, even if he sleeps with 10 women, they're like, he didn't mean it. I know he'll be right back.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's very
Like
rare
that.
to have that type
I
of...
need to catch her.
What have we been, mate?
Women
I
are
have one
guys
girl in
really
each
kill
country.
us.
I
People are going to kill you on this
I know.
video.
I don't care.
I think it's realistic.
It's a rare
It is
time.
real.
It's a rare
No,
time.
it isn't. See, like, it isn't.
It's
real.
only realistic from the standpoint of the man. It's not necessarily realistic
No,
in a
from
sense
the
that
woman.
I think. Look, go on. I'll let you finish your point before I come in
No,
anyway.
woman, you know when you're certain that he loves me, like, you know that...
Would you give him grief though?
Would I give him
Like, say now you're certain that
Yeah.
a guy loved you.
Well, what people appearances, isn't it? So you can take them in.
This is what I'm trying. This is
like
exactly
there's
what
a
I'm
level.
trying to say. This is what I'm trying to say. So.
It's like there's a level to
I want to
this.
know how this plays out.
Yeah.
I actually realistic for my benefit.
Yeah.
I want to know how this plays
Yeah,
out.
like...
So take notes here. So
So it's like...
if
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you know, actually you know.
Mm.
But like you said, you got to keep up appearances.
Yeah,
so
you have to.
he's obviously giving you that certain level of respect to not flaunt in your face
Yeah,
that
yeah.
he's doing his thing.
Yeah,
But obviously you might have an inkling
of
that.
course.
So what do
The
you do?
sixth
You
sense.
obviously be like, raw, yeah, the sixth sense, so
Mm.
you be like, raw, obviously don't act up, I'll slap you up that. Talk,
No,
yeah.
it's just like, what time are you coming back though? Well, it's a bit dodgy that if you're going to meet Kofi at midnight, you should be back by 1. He only lives 15 minutes down the road.
Okay.
And you know,
So
like,
you grilling.
yeah, like, okay.
Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's if you knew who Kofi was, though.
No, I'm just
No,
using
no,
No, but then
I-
I'm saying though, yeah, in a long distance relationship,
Yeah.
I've come back from work and I said to you, I've just made a friend. His name is Kofi.
Yeah.
He lives 30 minutes away from me.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean that this Kofi. Well, it doesn't mean that Kofi is a guy,
Yeah.
and it doesn't necessarily mean that Kofi lives 30 minutes away from me.
No, of course.
Kofi could be living in my
But I'm
block.
just- but I'm
So
keeping
this is
up
what I'm saying.
appearances.
So
I know he's a
yeah, I know what you
gentleman,
mean.
but I'm
No,
keeping
but
up
that's what I'm saying.
appearances. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
so if he lives, so call me back when you're at
Yeah.
Kofi's, or call me so I can greet him actually because he's been helping you out.
Okay,
so
you
much.
say the middle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then you don't.
So,
This is
Sorry.
that's all right.
Yeah.
So I think again, when I look back at it in
Mm.
hindsight, as you say, hindsight is 2020. So when you look back at it, I think properly, if I look at it quite objectively, I don't think we actually we discussed it properly before we actually got into it. I think
Yeah.
it was a case of there was attraction, you like each other, you fancy each other, and you're like, oh, well, stuff is just down the road, like, it's not really a problem. I think people don't understand that me making that journey did take a toll because it's a 3-hour journey to get to store.
Of course.
And then
yeah.
to get a cab to a
Yeah.
house and
Yeah.
stuff like that. There was financial implications, there was cost.
You're good, man.
So it was quite difficult, and I think ultimately it comes down to what Chris alluded to earlier, was that it gets to a point where when you start to compromise so much that it becomes an inconvenience. I know compromise is an inconvenience anyway, regardless, when it becomes an inconvenience to an extent where literally on the journey back, you're always thinking about it. God, like this is quite difficult. I'm tired.
Oh, wow.
Like, it gets to
It's
that
the weekend you're meant to
and-
relax and
yeah,
then it's
and-
like
and-
you're
and-
drained.
and I think it's important to actually clarify this point. It wasn't that I still didn't like her. It was I still didn't really care about each other. But it gets to a point where you need to say, you know what? It's becoming so much. It takes so much of a toll that actually you start to focus more on the negatives than on the good stuff. And I think at that point
That's
you need to
what
make
it
a clean break. Say, you
Yeah.
know what? It's not working right now. If we do get together in the future, we can look at. But right now we're at different points in our life and it's not working. I think that's what a lot of people need to sort of clarify before they get into it. They need to have that discussion because it's easier said than done, like Koja said earlier. And I know we don't like to talk about it, but sexual frustration is not a case of having sex all the time. It's a case of sometimes you just want to be with someone.
Just
That
having the
touch,
option there.
It's that human touch.
Yeah.
The option
You know
is
what?
what is the main problem.
With me,
So we're wrapping up, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I think that's just my take on it. Like it can work. I mean, it should work with the social media advances we have these days. However, the question is the level of commitment has to be sort of agreed prior, and there has to be expectations has to be sort of clarified as to this is what we're getting ourselves into. But ultimately, it comes down to obviously the level of the bond and love between both people. Again, I do agree with you. I don't think love conquers all. But I don't think love conquers all. I think there has to be practicality and common sense to long distance relationship or less than one.
Okay, Chris.
To be honest, I was just gonna quickly just say that talk about my experience with it, but with what I found with me having my long distance relationship, especially at a certain age as well, I feel like if you're at an age where you should be ambitious, I feel like you should more focus on your ambition and like Mo said earlier, it's not you shouldn't take life as serious, especially once you're at a certain age. You should just focus on what you need to do. Because for me, I felt that long distance relationship. I know what Daryl was saying, where there were certain times where you just like the stress just takes it out of you, and that's when it becomes more like you're just like, why am I even? You got to remind yourself as to why you're in the relationship. And the thing is, with me, it was a girl I was dating, but we were actually friends before we started dating for a few years. And I think we felt like that's what would have kept us together for, you get what I mean, to move past it. Because we were just like, we just saw it as it was an inconvenience, the distance. It wasn't anything, it was just me having to move. And we're just going to carry on as normal. And the thing is, we spoke like a proper couple, like every day, all of that, like everything was normal. But after a while, there was, and we even look back in hindsight and say we wasn't mature enough. Because we didn't communicate the right way, we didn't speak about what our plans were for the relationship in the future like that. We were just trying to go along as it was, you see what I mean? And just trying to get out of it. But you need to communicate and need to know what your plans are for the future, for you to and you need to actually really recognise if you love the person as well, like both of you have to actually talk to each other, be honest and be like, alright, where do you feel we're at this relationship now, and can it actually last a period of time to go through this long distance thing? If you don't have that kind of but a lot of people ain't really enough to have that kind of, you know what I mean, that kind of talk, because they know that it might end up being a fractured relationship. But I feel like that's key anyway. But that's me.
Long distance relationships. I think really it's just down to individual. I think a lot of the stuff that we said on this is true, but I think it's just down to the individual, because some people might have sexual frustration that could be mostly important to them. Some people might be communication. So I just feel like just having real conversations, not just because we've been together, it should work. It's about having real conversations to see what each individual needs are and how you're going to meet those needs. Because if it's a thing of, okay, you're going away for thing, okay, maybe every 2 months or so I need to come down, we need to see each other, and you put that as something that is going to direct that relationship, then you are going to last the test of time. But if you're just going through with it to say, okay, we are in love, we're so much in love that it doesn't matter what comes in our way, we are going to make it work. How are you going to make it work? So for me, it's the practicality of sitting down to say, look, this and that is what I don't like. Because look, I'm out with work colleagues, so I'm out, and I know 9 o'clock I need to be speaking to my missus. I need to come out of that club. I might as well not go out. There are challenges to it. It becomes, you're like, oh, no, I'm not going to call her today. Or she calls you, oh, you know, I'm out. These are the little things that slowly grinds it down, slowly makes it impossible.
Yeah.
Whereas when you are living with a person, it's not so much of a big deal because you could just go home and see that person, even if you can't talk at that time. So these are the little things that I see within long distance relationship. I think it's beautiful if it works. I think the whole idea of love conquering all, great. Like, I think that idea is beautiful, and I would love that to be the case. But I feel like sometimes the reason why these things break down is because people are not practical about the situation that they're in, considering what their needs are and making sure that with this long-term, long-distance relationship, they're still being able to meet their needs, I would say.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is more, like you said, individual. Sometimes it's a flip of a coin, 50-50 chance. I also do feel idleness breeds sin, just in terms of you know, if you're in a long distance relationship and you're literally not doing nothing,
Just chilling. Day
then
comes, let's go store.
that yearning for the other partner is going to be there just to, you know, talk and do nonsense and things. So, but then if you're two professionals that are literally busy all the time, traveling, working, doing this and that, and then the practical side is you set up to meet, talk and communicate at these times and then points, then in those situations it may work a lot more better than most. But I think also it is general down to a good understanding of yourself and really, really accepting what you can kind of commit to and accept and continue with. And I don't think a lot of people really have that honest reflection with themselves in certain situations.
We're in love.
Yeah, and just relying on the whole idea of love. Like I said earlier, your concept of love may be different to your partner's concept of love.
It would be.
And those differences also will cause a clash because you might have some expectations that they won't, and vice versa. So yeah, like I said, it's definitely not for most. I wouldn't advise it if you can. If it's something someone can avoid, obviously, then not. But yeah.
That's a very pessimistic view.
But it is how it is, really. And yeah, but yeah, like I said, it's a flip of a coin, and it probably may not work for most, but it can work for a lot. Yeah.
Thank you for adding that. It can, please. There's some hope that. Jeez. Mass.
I believe in long distance relationships. I think that it can be beneficial, especially to having a successful long-term relationship. I definitely believe it's a bit unhealthy for people to envision being with each other for 40 years or 50 years and going to bed with that same person every single night for that amount of time. I think you might need a slight break, if that makes sense.
Holiday, what about that?
Yeah, I feel like you might need a slight break. I definitely encourage anyone going to university to think about, just focusing on your education, not forgetting about your love or breaking up if that's not what you want to do. But I definitely think that there are benefits to having a break, especially when you're young, even when you're older. So I think that if you are with the right person, I think your relationship can stand the test of time and stand the test of distance as well. And if you think real life situations will put you apart, like from immigration problems to prison issues or whatever, it will happen. It can happen, or financial implications where someone needs to move away for the benefit of the family or the benefit of the future benefit of the family, and that sacrifice does need to be made. I feel like you can make it with ease only if you're with the right person and they're worth making that huge sacrifice for. Of course, it's always better to go to bed with someone every single night and know that, we're together forever and this is what we're going to do. But I definitely think that distance as well can make the heart grow fonder, and it can be a test of the strength of your relationship as well, and allow you to communicate via other means and to have faith in each other and trust. I think that there are many things it takes away, but at the same time there are many different things that it builds.
And I think that is priceless and will sustain your relationship forever. So I'm not encouraging long distance relationships because I don't think I can personally do it, but I definitely think it can work, and I think it will definitely work with the right person, and it's definitely worth the sacrifice with the right person.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the LDN Perspective podcast. Please get in contact with us. We want to create more of an organic platform. So if you have any questions, please check our Instagram page, which is LDN Perspective. You could also reach us on Twitter, Perspective LDN. And please, you could always drop us an email at ldnperspective@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.
Perspectives, different views, one voice.